Hey guys, Teresa here. Welcome back to my channel, Lost My Thread. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my sewing plans for the summer. Summer is the season that I have generally tended to sew for the most throughout the years, and I think that's just because I really enjoy sewing but also wearing floaty fabrics, nice drapey fabrics, skirts and dresses and lightweight things. And I am very excited about the things that I'm going to be sharing today. I have 4 projects that I have planned. This is not an exhaustive list of everything I plan to make in the summer, but there are some key pieces and I feel like they're generally cohesive and work well together. The first project I want to talk about is a skirt that I would like to make. Now this was definitely, I think, influenced by my Me Made May series that I did recently, trying to understand my personal style and where I would like it to go. One thing that I was finding myself gravitating towards when I was looking for inspiration were button front skirts, specifically linen button front skirts. I really like the look of these, I like the style, but I also feel like it goes really well with my own current personal style and things that I generally tend to wear. I felt like having a solid specifically would be really useful. I have actually made the So Liberated Estuary skirt before. It's a really beautiful skirt pattern. I like a lot of the design details of it, but the one that I made before was in a print. The fabric had a print on it, and I feel like it's just harder to pair with different tops that I already have. I like a print, but I also really like to have a lot of print on top, and I feel like having more solid on the bottom is just a little bit easier to pair with things that I already have, so that's what I want to do. This skirt is really pretty and feminine, but also so comfortable and easy to wear because it has a flat front waistband, but an elastic waistband on the back. Because of the elastic on the back, it creates gathers on the back. But what I like about this skirt is there are gathers underneath the flat front waistband as well. So it doesn't look strange that it's more flat at the front and more elasticized at the back. It just looks like gathering all around, but I really like that flat waistband at the front. It just looks a bit neater, particularly if you're tucking things into it. Now, because this has an elastic back waistband, the buttons on the front I would say are really very purely decorative. They're not necessarily needing to be functional because I can pull this on and off, or even over my head to be honest, without any problems. So when I made this skirt before, I didn't even bother to make buttonholes. I just stitched those buttons on through the layers. I don't think it's a problem. I don't think you would ever know, and that's what I intend to do again because life's too short. I will say I still like that look though of the buttons on the front, and there's also a nice slanted roomy patch pocket on this. I feel like in general it just feels very me, this style, I will say. The one that I made before, it wasn't as long as I would have wanted it to be because it was actually a refashion from a skirt that I had made before, so I had to just do what I could with the fabric that I had. But this version, I do want to make it a bit longer, definitely below the knee. I'm thinking kind of like a midi length, but maybe a little bit shorter than midi. Somewhere between knee length, midi length. I'll work it out when I make it and see what makes sense to me. I love the fullness of the skirt. It definitely feels very floaty. It feels very delicate. And like I said, I feel like it will just pair with so many things in my wardrobe if I go for a solid fabric. So the fabric that I have to show you guys today, it was actually a Fabric Godmother fabric. I had mentioned in my Me Made May videos that I would really like to get a nice, deep, rich chocolate brown linen and make a skirt or a pair of trousers from that. And would you believe the Fabric Godmother just wonderfully came out with their Riviera range fabric in a chocolate brown, they called it. Now, this fabric is a viscose linen blend. It is, I think it's just over 50% linen and a little bit of viscose, a significant amount of viscose. Viscose linen blends really do come in quite a range depending on how much of one you have or the other. I think most of the fabrics I've bought are more on the viscose end, and I feel like this one feels really more like a linen, but it has the lightness and the drape of the viscose. So this is it here. I know the colors are always a bit difficult to show on screen, but I think that's actually pretty good. So to me, it looks very chocolatey. I think it's got a nice red undertone to it. I wear a lot of red and I feel like the red works well for me. I have sewn with this fabric before, so it's their Riviera viscose linen fabric. So if any of you guys have made or seen their strawberry print fabric, that is on this same fabric, and I recently sewed with that fabric. You'll be seeing a video about my June makes. You'll see what that is, but it's wonderful fabric to work with. It's very cooling against the skin, and I will say it has a really nice little bit of drape to it. It definitely has that movement, but it also has quite a nice kind of poof and billowiness to it that you get from like a lightweight linen fabric. It definitely has the structure, the look of a linen fabric. And it is, like I said, it's really wonderful to work with. I love the movement from it. I feel like it takes gathers really beautifully. And I think this will be such a great skirt to wear. And this color, it's not one that I wear a ton. I'm trying to get more brown into my wardrobe because I think it would work so well with a lot of the other colors that I wear. But it's not the color that I'm usually super excited about. But this particular shade, it's delicious. It's really rich. I really do like it. And I think that will be a perfect estuary skirt. Now I am definitely clearly a fan of this fabric because not only did I buy it in one colorway, I bought it in another for a different project. Like I said, it is really nice fabric to work with. It is really lovely fabric to wear. And I mean, if you know you like something, why not go for it? The other color that I got here is an olive green. Now, some of you guys might remember there was a specific color of fabric that I am looking for that I mentioned in my Me Made May videos that I was noticing on Pinterest that I really like the look of. This isn't quite it, so it's fine. I'm still have that in my mind of something that I want to find, but this is, I would say, in the general vicinity. It is an olive green, but I would say it definitely leans more towards like the chartreusey side in my opinion. It's a really great color. What I will say is I love this color, but I would not want to wear it on my top half. I feel like it would make me look a bit sickly, but for bottoms, it's perfect. So again, it has that nice drape, that nice movement, that nice bounce to it, this viscose linen fabric. The color, it's a really cool greeny brown, very much an olive green color. And I feel like it's looking a bit more yellow on screen. If I don't think it's right, I'll pop in the correct color. But what I'm planning to do with this is make a pair of shorts. I have had my eye on the Closet Core Pietra pants, Pietra shorts, since they came out. I've gone back and forth about whether or not I wanted to make these. What I will say, Closet Core trousers fit me really well. So I feel pretty confident that I'll be able to make these with minimal adjustments. I know what adjustments I generally need to make for them, and I feel like they should fit me pretty well, which is always a bonus. These trousers have definitely some things in common with the estuary skirt. There is a flat front with an elastic back. Now this is completely flat front, so it's a flat front waistband, but it's completely flat on the whole of the front. And then the back, because it has that elastic waistband, has some gathering underneath the waistband. This is what has been putting me off. Now, I think very much depending on the kind of fabric you use, this is going to be more or less pronounced. I am not generally a big fan of elastic waist trousers at the back that create a lot of poof, a lot of volume, a bit of a balloon, a bit of a diaper butt. I don't want that look, and I don't like that look, but I have made some elastic waist trousers recently that actually didn't bother me too much because I tend to wear them very high-waisted. By the time those gathers are dissipating further down is usually where the bottom of my top will end. So you don't tend to see the gathers as much because I have quite a high waist. So I feel like for myself, there's a lot of torso there for all those gathers to kind of fall out on themselves, particularly if I use a more drapey fabric. And I may well tuck things into this, but again, I think if it's more of a drapey fabric, I don't think it's going to be that pronounced. So I think this fabric will work really well. I like the idea of making those in a linen. I feel like the style of them really suit linen, but I do feel like to avoid too much of that bubbly lower back, upper butt area, drapey fabric is definitely going to be my friend. So I'm hoping that this will work well. Now, these trousers have a really unique and cool design. There is a seam that goes down the front of the leg, and there is a really cool pocket that goes, it's sort of integrated into the seams between the side seam and that front seam. It's a really cool look. It's a super cute, unique pocket detail. And honestly, that is the main reason I wanted to make these. I like the flat front as well. I like the idea of the elastic at the back so that I can just pull them on and they're just really easy to put on. And there's a bit of flexibility there as well. If my body changes, if I eat a lot one day, I should still be really comfortable sitting down, standing up. I'm hopeful that these will be super, super comfortable. And I think they look really cool and stylish. I've seen a lot of versions that look amazing, but I'm just not sure for my own body how much I'm gonna love it with that back elastic. I'm hopeful. I'm really hoping it will work out. There is an option to put a zipper in the side seam, and generally that's recommended if you have to go more than 2 sizes larger for the hip compared to the waist. But I generally tend to just go with a straight size for their trousers. If anything, I've got maybe 1 size for the hip, but that shouldn't be an issue. So I think these should be easy to wear. I feel like the style and the look of them, I could very much definitely wear them for work, but I could also wear them more casually. I just feel like they'll be a very versatile style, but also this color, I think it's not a color I have in my wardrobe. I've been bringing a bit more green into my wardrobe, but it's a very specific green that generally I've stayed away from. But I think for bottoms, it will be cool. And I think this color will pair really well with a lot of other colors that I already have in my wardrobe. I feel like it fits my general color palette really nicely. And I'm excited to see these trousers. I will be making a muslin of these just to be a little bit more sure on sizing, but I think they could be really cool. Now, because I'm making 2 bottoms, I feel like I should make at least 1 top to go with them. And the one that I want to make is the Elisabeth Blouse by Juniper Patterns. This is a new pattern company. They only have a few patterns out. I was actually approached by the designer from this pattern company asking me if I wanted to pattern test this blouse when it was coming out. I really like the look of the blouse, but at that time, their size range was really not great. I feel like the hip maybe went up to like 45 inches or something like that, which is to me just not good enough in this day and age. And I gave that feedback, and they actually were in the process of expanding the size range, and they now have a better size range. So I generally was happy to then jump on board, and I bought this pattern when it came out because I do like the look of it. So this is a really lovely blouse pattern. Again, it has button front. You can take the buttons away, and I'm debating whether or not I want to do a hack to not have the buttons there, but they are pretty detailed, so I may well leave them on there. There is a front and back yoke. The front yoke is quite high, and it has gathering underneath that, which I think is a really lovely, delicate, feminine detail. There's gathering under the back yoke as well, and there's 2 sleeve options for this blouse. So you can either do a short sleeve with a little elastic gathering just above the hem, so you got a little bit of a poof and a little bit sticking out underneath the elastic on the hem, or you can do a long sleeve with elastic at the wrist. Generally speaking, I'm a fan of elastic at the wrist of a longer sleeve blouse so I can pull them up easily, but the short sleeve is also super cute, and I feel like probably what I will go for with my first version of this because it feels very summery. I generally was a little bit unsure about this just because if I don't have any kind of waist shaping, I feel like I can generally look like I'm wearing a tent. I look bigger than I am. I don't love that look on me. But I generally, when I've seen this, people tend to tuck it in a bit at the front, that kind of French tuck look. And I'm wondering if I could get away with that, and or I could just tuck it in. I think it'll be really comfortable and really billowy. I also wanted to go for a drapier fabric just so that hopefully it will just fall in a little bit into my body rather than just being completely poofy out. And the fabric that I've chosen is this fabric. Now, this was actually originally purchased to make a dress. It is, I mean, I'm hoping you can see, it's got a, like, not quite a bright white, more of like an eggshell background. And it has these lovely flowers that are kind of like a mauvey, purpley, pinky color, but they're quite soft. And from a distance, it more just gives it a slight pinky hue. I think it's a really beautiful fabric. This is a crinkle viscose crepe fabric. So these little creases there are part of the fabric. It's really lovely and soft. I got this from Stoff and Still, which now has a different name. Madewell? Well Made? I'll put up on the screen what the new name of Stoff and Still is. But they generally, I really like their fabrics in general, but this is a really beautiful fabric. I will say it's super duper drapey. It is very bouncy because of this crinkle. It really gives it a really nice bounce to it. It's not technically stretch, but you could basically treat it like a stretch fabric because of those crinkles, because they do come out. It's a bit like a double gauze fabric, you know, it has a lot more give to it, but I feel like this will be a really beautiful one to pair with either the skirt or the shorts, but to be honest, with so many other things in my wardrobe, I feel like this will make more sense for me as a blouse than as a dress. I think if it was all over, it would feel almost a bit too, I don't know, like wedding dressy or angelic. I think blouse is going to be really good, potentially a skirt one day as well, but for now I think I'm going to go with that blouse. I do think the colors go really well with both of these colors that I have for my bottoms, so I feel like in general that will create a nice little trio of things that I can mix and match during the summer months. The last project I want to talk about is a dress that I would like to make. Now, if you were gonna force me to say what is my favorite type of thing to sew, it's gonna be a dress. And they also happen to be my favorite thing to wear, especially in the summertime, so it works out well. But I do feel like I need to make a dress this summer. The one that I'm very excited to make is the March dress by Helen's Closet. Now, if you watched my most recent video where I talked about fabrics that I got from Merchant & Mills, you will have heard me talk about this dress, but I'm picking different fabric for this project. So the dress, when it first came out, I was kind of like, yeah, that's a nice dress. It's a pretty dress, but I didn't really feel like it was for me. And I think the reason is because the samples that were made up were all in linen fabric. Now, I really like linen fabric, but I feel like linen is really for me for certain types of projects. This dress is a very oversized dress. That's the idea. It's oversized. You can pull it on and off without having to do any fastenings. And I like that idea, but when you're using a linen fabric, it just has quite a lot of volume and bulk in it. There's lighter weight and heavier weight, but regardless, I feel like it kind of keeps a structure to it. And for me, I feel like if I made this in a linen, it would just look like it was just hanging off of my body. There's not any shaping in the waist, and I felt like it just wasn't gonna be a look for me. Beautiful dress, beautiful for other people, but I didn't think it was gonna be for me. At one point, Helen made a hack of how to add additional tiers onto this, and she used an Indian block print fabric to make it. And that was when I really suddenly fell head over heels for this dress, and I thought, this is a dress that I need to have in my life. So I'll talk to you about the general design of this dress. So there is a front and back bodice that has this princess seam that goes all the way from the front to the back. I really love that kind of central panel that goes from front to back, and I've seen people do some amazing things with embroidery details on that front panel section. It is fully lined on the inside, so I feel like it would enclose anything really nicely, and that's something I would definitely be interested to look into at some point if I feel like this dress works well for me. It has a drop sleeve, and so then there's another additional sleeve section that goes onto it that has gathering at the top and gathering at the bottom. I feel like it just is generally a really beautiful feminine dress. There's gathering under that bodice section for the skirt. There's a really nice, good, deep pockets. Helen does a good, deep side seam pocket. I really appreciate when she does a good, generous pocket. I feel like in general, it's a really lovely design, but with the right fabric, it is just stunning. So the block print fabric version that Helen made was definitely eye-catching. And then the Love to Sew podcast, they did an episode recently talking about Indian block print fabric. And it reminded me that Helen and Caroline have both made dresses in Indian block print fabric with the March dress with an additional gathered tier at the bottom. And when I saw both, it definitely lit a fire inside me where I was like, okay, this is what I need to do. I really like Indian block print fabrics, and I feel like because they're lightweight, they skim the body a bit more. I wouldn't say, it's like a cotton lawn fabric. They're generally very lightweight and not fully like viscose drape, but definitely more than like a structured linen fabric, that it kind of falls a bit more on the body. I feel like with the gathered tiers as well, it would be so full and floaty and wonderful. I will say it's very reminiscent to me, has elements of the Indian block print Maya Sodas dress that I made before, where I added a gathered tier at the bottom, and I love that dress so much. It has those similar kind of gathering details. I always get compliments when I wear that dress. It is the best thing to wear in the summer because it is so lightweight, it is breathable, it feels like you're wearing nothing, and I feel like this is gonna be another version of that for me. So I am really excited to get this one sewn up. Now, like I said, I talked about an Indian block print fabric that I bought from Merchant & Mills recently and thought, this is what I'm going to use. And then when I was looking in my fabric stash, I realized I had another Indian block print fabric that I felt like really, really needed to be this dress. So that is what I've decided to pick. I may also make the same dress from the other fabric. I might do something else with it. But this, I feel like, really just needs to be the March dress for me. This is the fabric. I'm holding it upside down. This, this is the right way up. So it is a beautiful, is it? I'm having a whole thing now where I can't decide which way is up. Regardless, guys, it's a floral fabric. It's absolutely beautiful. I love the colors on it. I really love this. Not only do you get like that, the red and the green, which are really beautiful together, and this kind of mustardy yellow brownie color, but that bright coral on top of it just absolutely just makes it like nothing else. It really stands out. It's so, so beautiful. I feel like these are great colors for me. I feel like they'll suit me really well. And I can see myself floating around in this fabric. I think it's just gonna be so, so perfect. I will have to make some decisions. I'm not gonna do like pattern matching on the bodice section because I like that it's these two sections. You've got the front and the sort of side section with the princess seam, and I want to maintain that. This also has an optional tie that goes around the neckline, which I think I like, even though I wouldn't generally tie it shut. I like it kind of dangling and adding an additional kind of floaty feminine thing to it. I think this is going to be such a stunning dress. I think it's going to be so, so comfortable. Something that I remember Caroline from the Love to Sew podcast saying is like her house dress. It's her perfect house dress to wear at home. And I've been talking or thinking a lot about my loungewear and what I wear when I am at home. And I've been starting to wear some more things that I used to think of as more like outside wear inside. And I could totally see this dress being something that I would love to just like throw on when I get into the house, and I could happily answer the door in it and feel like I'm dressed, but also feel like I'm basically wearing like a nightgown because it would just be so comfortable and so just billowy and breathable and beautiful. I'm really excited about this one, and I think this fabric is just really, to me, calling out to be that dress, and I really, truly cannot wait to get this made up. Whenever I make these videos, I think the hardest part afterwards is always trying to figure out what do I actually want to sew up first, because I'm very excited about all these projects and I genuinely don't know where I'm going to start. If there's anything that you are particularly excited to see me make, let me know in the comments down below. If you have made any of these patterns before, I want to know how you found them, if there were any tips, any things that you felt went well, things that you might do differently. That is always so, so useful to hear generally as feedback. I really also would love to hear what you're planning to make this summer, because I feel like the summer for me, it just brings out like a certain style of garment, a certain kind of garment, and it's always nice to hear what other people are making, and I often find out about new patterns that I didn't even know existed. So please do let me know what you are getting up to. I would love it if you would give me a like if you enjoyed my video today. It will help other people to find my channel. Make sure to subscribe down below if you want to make sure that you see upcoming videos, including all these goodies all sewn up into clothes. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will be seeing you very soon. Bye!